he has a distinguished career, serves as a role model for our students. In the last sentence, he's being honored tonight as the College of Natural Sciences Distinguished Alumnus of 2017. Dr. Jack Cochran.
I agree. Okay. First slide, please. That's a little joke. Wanted to see if I could make Simone sweat. I mean, you know, right after lunch, you have to have something to stay for, especially after that. So thank you for that brief acknowledgement that I did go to medical school, but we have not found it anywhere on my resume. So I do want to say a few things. First of all, I want to acknowledge it is really awesome to be here. I had a little time tick this morning. I was over at the Hilton Hotel, and I was up on the 9th floor because I had spilled some coffee on my shirt, and I was looking for some club soda. So there was a woman up there who was cleaning, and she says, "Have you seen the new stadium?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Look, it's right over there." And I said, "Wow, that's amazing." She says, "What do you think it'll be like to have a stadium on campus?" And I said, "That's all I ever knew." That's where the stadium was when I left. I was just trying to beg for a "you don't look that old," you know. So anyway, I do want to acknowledge this gathering, great scholars, and a great community of people who all, actually, whether we know each other or not, we do know that we care a lot about the future of the world. And we have to create some sanity outside of Washington, D.C., because I've seen no signs of it improving on any side of the aisle. And I also want to make a big cheer for CSU. The preparation that you are getting here, that you got here, and that we got here, as we found out, as Michael and I were talking, it's outstanding. It's just outstanding. You heard that I had to keep going to medical school after medical school after medical school to find a career and to get something that I could practice. And I can tell you, at the one that used to have their main campus in Boulder and now has moved their other campus to Denver, and at the one in Palo Alto, and at the one in Madison, Wisconsin, I was fine. I was well prepared. I was one of the students that really could accomplish anything I wanted to. So the CSU preparation needs no explanation. You guys have got the best that you can have, and you'll do very well. So maybe you had a professor that maybe wasn't exactly what you had hoped for, or maybe you had a class that didn't meet all your expectations. We call that life. Okay? That's called life. Keep your heads high and take this platform that you have, that you've attained, and take it for true celebration. Celebrate today and celebrate what you have done and what you will do. But not only celebration, but acceleration. Because you're just prepped. You're just ready. You're just getting good. What you have here has really prepared you to make big differences where you go and when you really take on the world outside of the walls of CSU. You know, Malcolm Gladwell recently wrote a book called David and Goliath, and he talked about all these myths about, you know, this is superior to that, and all these assumptions. And he took to universities, and while I don't pretend that the book is the end-all scientific document, he talked about the top students at schools like CSU are among the best in the country. And you can take all those 10 or 15 big-name colleges, and once you get below about their top 1 or 2 percentile, they're no better than anybody. And so this school turns out the finest, and turns out people that can easily complete and can easily go out there and do themselves proud. And I would say that my trajectory confirmed that. As we were talking at lunch, when I walked out of CSU, I didn't have any doctors in my family. I didn't know what medical school was going to be like, no matter where I got into. And so I thought, maybe I'm just going to completely get run over by how hard it is and how difficult it is and how smart everybody was. Well, it's not true. The preparation here was exemplary, was great, and there's no question that coming out of here was a great opportunity for me. So next, I'm just going to finish with a comment to the scholars about what I call career arc. believe it or not, just like having a professor who didn't meet all of our needs, or a class that wasn't perfect for us, there's going to be highs and lows for you for the next several years. And there's going to be a few bumps in the road. But I will tell you, those bumps in the road define us. They define who we are. And if we don't have bumps in the road, if we don't have any lows, it might be because we're not taking enough chances, or we're not pushing ourselves hard enough, or we're taking it too easy, because there has to be some stretch. Now, my profession, I'll personalize it for just a second. When I was a senior at CSU, I applied to a few medical schools, and part of the process was I had to write on the application 2 paragraphs. Why I want to be a doctor, why I wanted to be a physician. And if you read my application and Michael's application and Brett's application and every physician, whoever wrote those 2 paragraphs, they may not have been identical, but the themes were clear. We were idealists. We wanted to be healers. We wanted to take on the suffering in the world. Fast forward 40 years. How are we doing? How happy are we as a group, as a group? Well, I will tell you that the 22-year-old idealist has been derailed in many of us. And somewhere along the road, because of externalities and change and a lot of things that happened around us, some of us got really unhappy and got really pretty miserable. And I think that's very unfortunate, because the need that we went into this for has not gone away. Don't forget, the role of patient is involuntary, right? You chose to be good students and doctors and professors, and you chose to be that, and yes, it's hard, and yes, it's demanding. But none of you woke up this morning saying, you know, it's been a while since I was really sick. I'd like to give that a shot again. You don't want the uncertainty, you don't want the unknown, you don't want the pain, and you don't want to suffer. So I think what we have to do as our career arc goes on, and now I will tell you that they say, what are you doing now that you're retired? I said, well, I'm doing a little writing, I'm doing a little teaching, and I said, I'm trying to make sense of the autumn of my career. And my close friends say, looks a lot more like winter to me than autumn. But I think our challenge is to say, how do we re-examine ourselves as people who are well educated and have a chance to continue to contribute? Can we re-examine our personal mission? Can we reboot ourselves? And I'm talking about the doctor business. Can we continue to make positive contributions even though we think the world has changed that we don't like? Because as Viktor Frankl learned in the concentration camps, and as Admiral Stockdale learned in the prisoner of war camps, the one thing they can't take away from us is our decision to know how we want to feel about a situation. They can do what they want to us. So I don't want to compare the practice of medicine to concentration camps, but many of my colleagues are unhappy, and I think we can find better ways to contribute. So finally, all of us in this room, I believe, are the coalition for a better future. and we all have different ways to contribute. Jonas Salk, the polio researcher, was quoted as saying, our greatest responsibility is to be good ancestors. And so whether you're 20 or you're 90, what kind of ancestor can we be? What can we contribute? And I think for those of us that are here as supporters of the future, whatever we can give, whether it's as teachers, as mentors, as helpers, or as donors, I think that this gratitude that I feel has to have some action. Gratitude's a little passive, it's a little thankful, but the action, I believe, is to proactively say, how can I contribute? And I think that the action is generosity. And so how do we learn from this young group of people? Because our future is not unlimited. It's not unlimited. I'll reference another quote, a Japanese philosopher who said, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. So I think that's what we have to look at our future. How do we rekindle the idealism that was burning in us at one time, and how do we move that forward? And how do we continue to say we are blessed to be part of this coalition of the future, these great students, these great scholars, and how can we, in the autumn of our career, continue to contribute and continue to make a difference? And I'll close with two other philosophers, two women philosophers. The first is Helen Keller, who will tell us, keep your face to the sunshine and you will never have to see the shadows. And the other is Dolly Parton, who says, the way I see it, if you're going to enjoy the rainbow, you're going to have to put up with a little bit of rain. So thank you.